How did cavemen smoke their first tobacco? Imagine an Ice Age camp at the edge of a cold ancient wetland. The fire's burning low. Ducks have been hunted, stone tools lie near the ashes. The night is quiet but not peaceful, because in this world quiet can mean something is watching. Around the fire, a small group of ancient humans sit close to the heat, tired, hungry, and alive for one more day. Then someone brings a strange plant from the dry hills, a plant with leaves that smell sharp, bitter, and powerful. This is not food. It does not fill the stomach. It does not make a spear sharper. It does not keep the rain away. But when the leaves touch fire, something unusual happens. The smoke rises, curls, and enters the body. The person breathes it in, or maybe chews the plant first, letting the bitter juice burn the mouth. And then the feeling comes. The body changes. The mind sharpens, or spins, or calms, or wakes up. For a moment, the ancient world feels different. That may have been one of humanity's first encounters with tobacco. Not in a cigarette, not in a pipe from a store, not in a casino, bar, or modern city, but beside a prehistoric fire, thousands of years before farming spread across much of North America. Now we have to be careful, because there was no caveman cigarette found in the dirt. Archaeologists did not discover a tiny stone lighter with fingerprints on it. What they found was stranger: 4 tiny charred seeds of wild tobacco inside an ancient hearth at the Wishbone site in Utah's Great Salt Lake Desert, dated by other burned plant material in that hearth to about 12,300 years ago. Before this discovery, some of the clearest evidence for tobacco use came much later, including nicotine residue in ancient pipes from Alabama around 3,300 years ago. So the first tobacco users we know about were not smoking rolled cigarettes. They were hunter-gatherers in the Americas, living near the end of the Ice Age, surrounded by wetlands, birds, stone spear points, and a world still full of giant extinct animals. The big mystery is this: how did they figure out tobacco was special? Think about the courage and curiosity that took. Ancient humans were the ultimate plant detectives. Every leaf was a question. Can this feed us? Can this heal us? Can this kill us? Can this numb pain? Can this keep us awake? Can this speak to the spirit world? Most animals avoid strange, bitter plants, but humans are weird. Humans investigate. Someone somewhere crushed a leaf, smelled it, tasted it, burned it, watched the smoke, and noticed the effect. Maybe the first discovery was accidental. Maybe tobacco leaves were thrown into a fire with other plants, and the smoke hit someone's throat with a strange bite. Maybe someone chewed it while walking, felt the nicotine rush, and told the others. Maybe an elder noticed animals avoided the plant and wondered why. Maybe a healer tested it carefully, not as food but as medicine, ritual, or power. This is the wild part. Tobacco contains nicotine, a chemical that affects the nervous system, and modern health agencies warn that nicotine is highly addictive. But to ancient people, that powerful feeling may not have been understood as addiction. It may have felt like energy, focus, spirit, a plant with a voice. Imagine one person near the fire pulling smoke into their mouth and immediately coughing hard. The others laugh. Then they try again. The smoke is harsh. It scratches the throat. The eyes water. But after the coughing comes a feeling unlike ordinary air. The heart beats differently. The head feels lighter. The hunger fades for a moment. The cold feels farther away. And in a world where humans were always fighting exhaustion, hunger, fear, and pain, a plant that could change the body would not be ignored. It would be remembered. It would become knowledge. This plant does something. Those 5 words are how whole traditions begin. Maybe they did not smoke it through a pipe at first. Maybe they twisted leaves and stems together, chewed them, sucked the juice, or tossed parts into fire and breathed the smoke. Researchers have said the seeds alone do not prove exactly how tobacco was used at that ancient hearth, only that people had brought tobacco into that camp and used it somehow. But picture the possible moment anyway. A hand reaches toward the fire, drops the plant onto glowing coals, and the smoke rises like a signal from the earth. Everyone watches. Fire already had power. Fire cooked meat, scared predators, warmed babies, and turned night into a circle of safety. But when tobacco met fire, it created something else. Smoke that entered the human body and changed the mind. That must have felt mysterious. Ancient humans did not separate survival, medicine, and spirituality the way modern people often do. A plant that made you feel different might be a tool, a medicine, a warning, a gift, or a bridge to something invisible. So tobacco may have become more than a plant. It may have become a ritual object, a social object, a powerful thing handled with respect. Later, across many indigenous cultures of the Americas, tobacco became deeply important in ceremonial, medicinal, and spiritual life, although traditions differed from place to place. And that gives the ancient discovery a deeper meaning. Those burn seeds in Utah are not just tiny black dots in an old fire pit. They are evidence that humans were already building relationships with plants that affected the mind. They were not only hunting animals and making tools, they were exploring consciousness. They were learning that the world contained hidden powers inside leaves, roots, smoke, and bitter tastes. But the first tobacco moment may also have been dangerous. Tobacco is not gentle. Too much nicotine can make people sick. Even small amounts can cause dizziness, nausea, sweating, and a racing heart, especially for someone not used to it. So the first people who experimented with tobacco probably learned through trial and error. One leaf might feel powerful, too much might feel terrible, smoke might be different from chewing, dry leaves might work better than fresh ones, the plant might be stronger at certain times of year. This is how ancient knowledge was built, not in laboratories but through memory, mistakes, and storytelling. Someone tried it. Someone got sick. Someone found the right amount. Someone taught the next generation. That is the human superpower, turning risky experience into shared knowledge. And once a group knew tobacco's power, they could carry that knowledge across seasons, camps, and generations. Maybe the plant was gathered from uplands and brought back to camp. Maybe it was saved for special moments. Maybe it was shared after hunting. Maybe it was used when people needed focus, or comfort, or ceremony. We do not know the exact story, but we know enough to say this. Tobacco's relationship with humans is ancient, far older than cities, empires, shops, or modern smoking culture. It reaches back toward the Ice Age, toward campfires, wetlands, and people who knew the land plant by plant. The most fascinating part is how small the evidence is. 4 seeds, that is all. 4 tiny burned seeds survived for more than 12,000 years, long after the people were gone, long after the fire died, long after the wetland became desert. Those seeds waited in the earth like a secret, and when archaeologists found them, they opened a window into a night nobody remembered, a night when ancient humans may have sat by the fire and discovered that smoke could do more than rise. It could change them. So how did cavemen smoke their first tobacco? Maybe they did not smoke it the way we imagine. Maybe they chewed it. Maybe they burned it. Maybe they inhaled smoke from leaves placed on hot coals. Maybe the first puff was an accident, a cough, a laugh, and then a strange silence as everyone realized the plant had power. There were no cigarettes, no matches, no tobacco shops, no warning labels, no modern addiction science, just fire, leaves, curiosity, and a human brain asking the oldest question of all. What happens if we try this? And that is why this story matters. It is not really about smoking. It is about discovery. It is about humans meeting a plant that could alter the body and deciding it was important enough to remember. From that first mysterious campfire smoke to later pipes, rituals, trade, colonization, addiction, and global industry, tobacco's story became enormous. But at the beginning, it may have been unbelievably small. A hand, a leaf, a flame, a breath, and a feeling ancient humans could not forget.